because it's rude not to. Oh my gosh. Hi. Welcome to episode 70 of the Mad About You YouTube channel. My name is Madeleine. I'm your host for today. I use she and her pronouns. And I come to you today on the land of the Gubby Gubby people of the Sunshine Coast. And in the spirit of reconciliation, I would like to acknowledge the Gubby Gubby people as the traditional custodians and pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Please, oh, sorry, buddy. Please excuse my rude cat fin. This is take 3. Take 1 was okay. But I forgot about some things I wanted to share. So I forgot, and then I went, oh, let's do take 2. Thought I would flip the camera so that I don't see myself, but I can see with the rear facing camera, so it was better quality for you. But I forgot to flip it back, so I have 40 minutes of me talking facing the pool area. And here we are today, the next day. It is take 3. Whatever happens here will happen. You may or may not see another pussycat because they are around. Isabeau, that is the camera, no. Hey, Papa. Hey, Puss. Yes, hello. Let's say hello to our friends in the phone. This is Isabeau, who apparently doesn't want anything to do with me. Okay. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. We are in year 6 of the podcast officially in 2024. This is the first episode of 2024. If you are a returning viewer, did I literally just say that? Not sure. Welcome back. How this podcast, video, vlog, what I made this month goes is, I do a rambly intro. I'm occasionally sweary. I will talk about my finished objects, my works in progress, acquisitions or stash enhancement. I will then usually talk about any knit-alongs that I might be participating in. I will also then talk about blather or life update. And yeah, that's kind of it. So without further ado, let's get into some finished objects. Hooray! My cats are being real weird right now. Alright, it is also Tuesday the 30th of January 2024. I didn't mention that earlier. And you can find me on the interwebs as Madbell on Ravelry, Mad About You on Instagram, and that is it for now. Obviously, Mad About You podcast on YouTube, but you've already found me, so well done. I have 2 finished objects to share today. I'm really excited by both of them. The first one I will show you is the Euphobia Wrap. It is a pattern by Amber O'Brien. She's an Australian designer. She makes a lot of, I don't know how this is going to look from your side because I cannot see. Finnegan. Hey, buddy. Hey, Baba. She makes a lot of patterns, particularly great at designing Advent related patterns. I have made a mistake in this one. It is no fault of the pattern. It is 100% my misreading of the pattern. But it is the Euphobia Wrap, and I knit this with 24 or half of 24 mini skeins that I was donated, or gifted kindly by Sarah of Daffodil Road Yarn Company. So this pattern is beautiful, the yarn is beautiful. The mistake I made is that it's supposed to have an I-cord edge on both sides, and I was just passing the yarn the wrong way for the first three colors, and then I realized here. Also, the pattern does remind you to be conscious of your gauge or tension in the beginning of the pattern, and I thought I was, but I obviously wasn't because we are tweet here. I also haven't blocked this yet because I'm living back at home with my folks and I don't actually have access to all my blocking materials right now. So this will get blocked in April when I move into my new place, but I don't anticipate needing it before then. Yes, so let's go through. It has a beautiful center spine detail, which I really enjoyed. I loved knitting with this yarn. It is very soft. It is very lovely. And it finishes with this nice brown color. To be honest, I didn't think that I was gonna like this color at like when I first saw all of them and I was preparing to put it in. But I actually think it's a really beautiful brown, and I'm lucky or happy that I changed my mind about it. So yeah, I may take some footage of me in this and insert that, but also I'm a lazy girl and I might not. So yeah, that one is finished. I have about somewhere between like 10 and 12 grams left, or maybe it's 8 and 10 grams left over of each of these colors. So they are currently safe in a one of those 24 pack Kmart boxes that I'm keeping my minis in, and they will get put into my Advent hexagon blanket, which you will hear about in works in progress. So yeah, first one, I cast this on just after I got home from Thailand, so that would have been 23rd of December, and I finished it on the 9th, I think, of January. So 2 and a bit weeks of solid knitting. Like, I took it everywhere I was. But yeah, it's DK weight, it's really cozy and lovely, and I'm really happy with it. It's far too hot here. We've had like 100 mils of rain, or almost 100 mils of rain. It is cooler today than it was yesterday, but it is still like 30 degrees and very warm, so I won't be putting this one on. My whingy cat. All right, next finished object is my long overdue for finishing Knit Picks Felici. I knit these 2 at a time socks. Can't remember the colorway name, but it is on my Ravelry page. And so this is, I have 2 balls of this size left over. So my second one is here. And the socks. I cast these on the 1st of January 2019, and I cast them off early January 2024. So they took 5 years to finish. Ridiculous. They, according to my Ravelry notes, is a 68 stitch cast on. Peculiar amount, not entirely sure why. I knit these on a 2.5 millimeter ChowGoo. Not at all. Not at all, not even remotely close. I knit these on a 2.5 millimeter higher sharp 100 centimeter cable needle because I knit these 2 at a time. I knit all the way through to the toe, and then I did a true cut in afterthought heel, and the pattern I used to help me do that is Susan B. Anderson's Smooth Operator Sock. They are very similar, except there is an extra row of this pink here in this ankle heel kind of section, and I managed to avoid it in the other sock. This one is completely finished, ends cut and woven in. I think these ends are woven, but not cut. No, they need to be done. All right, so I'm counting them as finished. They need a wash and a block, and then they will be a birthday gift for someone in my family this year. So that's very exciting. It has been a long time coming for those socks for this person. And also, I'm just really glad to have it off my needles, finally. And these were kept in a Master Circus knitting little bag, and I will have to change out those needles because they can be ready for something else. All right, let's work into, that was an accident, move into works in progress. And I need a drink of water. Alrighty, so despite knowing third recording that I should bring my sock home from work, I forgot. However, I have actually kept half of the sock at home and half of the sock at school. I haven't really had a chance to do any lunchtime school knitting because it's taking me so long to eat my salad, and we get half-an-hour breaks, and by the time I pack up the class or set up for the next one, head to the staff room, try and eat my lunch, go to the toilet, and then get back to the classroom, I haven't really had time to sit and knit, so hopefully that will come to be at some point. Anyway, this beautiful yarn is Ashlee Designs. It is it's Susan's self-strapping sock yarn. I don't remember the colorway name. I'm gonna say it's, yeah, the label is in my other bag, which is at school. I'm knitting on a 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular high sharp needle, And I cast on, I'm fairly certain I cast onto a magic loop, sort of a double, a long circular needle. Did the first 2 rounds, and then I joined, and I'm knitting the sock. So this is a 64 stitch sock, 2x2 ribbing at the front or at the top. And I have taken a leaf out of Ali and so many other people, I'm sure, from Fibre Bound's book, and I'm marking every 10 rounds because I'm knitting these at the same time, like concurrently but separately, you know. I'm not sure that I love the 9mm circular, the 9-inch circular. I feel I'm actually quicker on Magic Loop, which seems weird to me, but also haven't been knitting socks. I mean, I've knit a couple of pairs in the last year, but not a whole lot. So I think maybe more practice, I'll be quicker at it. But making them concurrent also helps in terms of, you know, feeling like you're achieving something a little bit more. All right, let me put that away before I get too distracted, and this is extra waffly. So keeping this one in a Mavis handmade project bag as well. This was a seconds, I can't remember why. But it's a cute little sock size bag, and it has this really lovely D-ring here. Well, not lovely, but very helpful D-ring. So I'm keeping my light bulb stitch markers on that, so I can easily mark my rows my 10 rounds as I get there. My last work in progress comes to you in a tub. If you remember, or you've seen last episode, I talked about what I want to make for 2024 and what I wanted to finish as well. This is also available to see on my Instagram because I created a post about it. So whips I wanted off my needles was, first of all, the socks, which have been finished, which is excellent. I'm really happy about that. Thank you, Madeleine, for finally doing that. The other thing I wanted to finish was, excuse me, my Euphobia Wrap, which also has been done. Tick. So I'm 2 from 4 at this point for finishing projects. The other 2, I don't reckon will get finished this year. They're kind of long-term makes. So where was I going with this? I'm going to show you something else because I have 3 works in progress I forgot. I am making the polygon blanket by Tin Can Knits. As you can see, I'm not super far onto my next polygon or my next hexagon. I have made 12, I think, so far. They're packed away, so I can't show you. Sorry, what a bad podcast that. But these I'm making, I'll probably put a photo in here actually. So it's a white border, or it's this almond color, which is Bendigo Woolen Mills in their luxury 8-ply. Doing 3 rounds of that, and then I go in with, it's like about 8 grams of, 12. I think each hexagon all up is 12 grams. So it's about 8 that I need of this colored yarn. And I am using my leftovers from my 2020 Louis and Lola advent calendar. So that's these ones here. I'm holding them double because it is fingering weight yarn, and this pattern is written for DK weight. We have this one, which maybe not high enough contrast to be worth doing it. This one is not high contrast at all, so we might keep that separate. And then I have some other yarns as well that will probably go in this blanket purely for the fact that they're Christmassy. So Mel from 3 Cats Yarn dyed up this skein, which she gave me like as a Christmas gift a couple of years ago, and this one here, which is beautiful and red, so they will go in. And then I also have some skeins like this one here, which is from the Advent swap I did with back in 2022 that I did with Ali from Fibre Bound, Mel from 3 Cats Yarn, and Crystal from Crystal Knits. And so I haven't really done anything with those yet. So some of them will go in this blanket as well. I feel like I should have kept one out to show you, but I didn't, so here we are. So anyway, I've cast on. I think I need a couple more stitches. We were out in the boat on the river in Noosa when I cast this on, and then something happened, rain possibly, and I had to put it away, and I haven't gotten back to finishing it. I remember at the beginning of this year, my goal was to do 2 of these a week, like 2 hexagons a week, but with trying to finish my other projects, it's just really gone to the wayside. And I haven't had a whole lot of knitting time recently. So there we go. All right, the work in progress, I was really excited and meaning to show you before I remembered about this one. This yarn bag is by Sean's Yarns. I feel like they are in South Australia, but I could be wrong. And I haven't bought a bag off them for a long time. This is from a yarn festival in 2021. So they may not be making bags anymore, but if they are, I will link them below. Right, my next project. I frogged back this morning quite a bit of it. So I thought to myself, driving home from school, oh, that's fine, I'll just show you how big it was yesterday. But the reason I'm re-recording is because I didn't show you any video yesterday. It was just my voice and the outside area. So I am making a Scrappy Basket. I've inspired by woolly llamas on Instagram to use up stash. Moana has made quite a few of these in the last 12 months, and she's on a really big stash busting kick. And so I thought I wanted to do the same. So I have got 7 yarns, and this is just the base. I had done probably like this many more rounds, but I've pulled them out because it is starting to curl. I actually think that this is probably flat enough, but I'm doing some plain rounds just to ensure that it does stay flat. I will talk you through the yarns in a moment, but this is how much I have frogged. It looks like more than it is because it is 7 skeins of fingering weight yarn. So if I show you very quickly, hopefully you'll be able to see, we have knit picks and knit picks and knit picks. We have a down under dye, a 3 Cats yarn, which is Mel, she's local to Australia. And then these 3 here are Madeleine Tosh yarns, which are beautiful, but I have owned them for so long. I bought them in a de-stash when I was trying to grow my stash, maybe I'd been knitting 2 or 3 years. And so I want them in my life, but not in my yarn stash. So that's how they jumped in. Mel's yarn is a stellina, so every so often I can see like a silver speckle or sparkle in here, which I'm really enjoying. That's why I chose that, because I thought the color does go quite well with all of the other colors that I've got. And also it, just adds that extra element. So the pattern for this one is a free pattern. I will have linked that below, probably in my Ravelry page. And it's really easy to follow. It is using US crochet terms, which is fine. I usually will use UK. And I have been using a 6mm crochet hook because it is the biggest in this in this tulip, a more Etimo Rose, set that I have. But I think with the number of strands, I think I would be better off with maybe a size 7. I think the size of the hook has probably not helped my rolling issue. But I feel that if I just if I'm a little bit more loose, I was being really tight and tugging after every stitch, which was nice for the fabric. But I just think it will be better if it's a little bit more loose. Another thing, which is a tip for crochet, is if you are crocheting things in the round, usually I'm fairly bad at actually doing this, but today, or this time, I've decided it's worth it. I did start a bit late. At the beginning of the round, it can be really helpful to have a different piece of contrasting yarn and just flip it backwards and forwards over each stitch. So eventually you will end up with a line, but it's super helpful, particularly when you're increasing or starting something round, so that if you do have to rip back like 11 rows or something like I did today, you know where the beginning of the round was. I haven't found it super difficult with this project, but the Ed's animals that I make, usually in the body, I have a more difficult time if I haven't done that with some of those. So I highly recommend, if you are knitting or crocheting this or something else in the round, that you look into doing that. It's fairly easy. You just you know, flick it over every first stitch of every round. Does that make any sense? I think so. I'm really tired, I'm sorry. All right, so that is it for actual works in progress. I'm really excited to keep working on this. I think I'm just doing plain stitches for a couple of rounds. That's what was my plan. I probably can't crochet and talk to you at the same time because I don't think I'm quite that talented just yet. Probably could have in my early crafting days when I did crochet more than I knit. But also because I keep accidentally, like right now I have to undo this because I have missed a loop. I have to pay attention, so I'm going to put this away. All right. Nothing new stash-wise has entered my life. I'm on a no-buy year, or no-buy 6 months at least. I am doing that because most of my stash is in storage. I don't really know what I have anymore, and I just am trying to be more purposeful and use what I have. So that is great until I decided I wanted to make an Eva cardigan, which needs like DK or Aran weight yarn, in which case I don't have enough to do it just as a normal knit pattern. But I've just realized I have 5 skeins of some Blobby NMA, which I could maybe make a striped jumper. So I might look at the pattern and see if I can hack that. We were talking acquisitions, of which I have none. So let's go into reading, watching, and listening. I have read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I'm very excited to kind of get back into fantasy reading. I feel like I need to jump on the Sarah Jane Maas train with the Akatar and her other books, but I haven't read those yet. So I've reserved them at the local library and hopefully they will come in soon. So that's what I've been reading. Watching. 2 recommendations. One is an Aussie TV show called Boy Swallows Universe. I also own the book that I haven't read for that, but that's on my February list to read. It's an Australian 7-episode limited series drama based in Brisbane, which is the city where I was born, but I live further north of there now, in the 80s. It's based off Trent Dalton, a fantastic Australian writer's life growing up, and it's an Australian cast. It was thought-provoking, heart-wrenching, wonderful, affirming. It was really great TV, so I recommend that. In terms of podcasts, a new-ish to me, maybe like 6 months ago, or not even 6 months, maybe 4 months ago, I met a lovely Australian crafter named Ash. She goes by Smash Knits on Instagram, and I think her podcast is the Smash Knits podcast. But I will link to that below. So she is enthusiastic, a new podcaster, and yeah, she has knit a phenomenal amount of things in the 1 or so years that she has been knitting. And she's the one who has inspired my thoughts about that Eva cardigan. So thank you, Ash. I will continue looking into my stash, like the conversation that we had. So that's what I've been watching. In terms of listening, I'm so sorry. Listening. I listened to the Iron Flame audiobook. I'm still listening to it. Listening is usually like music podcasts, and I can only think of 2 things. I've been listening to a lot of Paramore because I went to Paramore at the end of last year and I really enjoyed the concert. It's been great to engage with that music again. I listened to the Gflip cover of Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer and Holy Dooly. That was fabulous. And I've also been listening to Taylor Swift in preparation for the concert in February, which is like 3 weeks away. I'm so excited. So yeah, that's that. Life news, knit and natter blather. All right, I am 3 weeks into my new job. I've had kids at school for 5 days now. So yeah, 2 weeks really into new job. It's going well. It's much, I want to say, better than I thought, or I had fairly low expectations, I guess, just on how happy I was at my last school with the staff and whatever. But people here have been wonderful, and so I'm really enjoying it. I went to my head of department today and said, is it weird that one of my year 7 classes might be my favorite so far? Which is weird for me because I really find year 7 a challenging year to teach. But the class has been so good and so great, and we are studying, we're introducing dreamers, so people who had a dream and made a positive influence. And then one of my grade 8 classes, we're talking about the Middle Ages basically, in medieval times. So Vikings, barbarians, the fall of the Roman Empire, the Middle Ages. We're talking Crusades, etc. We're literally at the very beginning, like the fall of the Roman Empire, and they're great. One class in particular in my grade 8s as well is beautiful. So that's been really encouraging and much better than I hoped for and expected. So yeah, wonderful. What else has happened? Not a lot of crafting. I mean, quite a bit has happened, but since I've been back at work, far less. The other thing is, like I said before, I'm going to Taylor Swift in Sydney on the 24th of Feb. So I will be flying into Sydney on the Friday straight after work. I'm staying at a hostel in the city because accommodation everywhere is ridiculous. And I would love to meet up with some of you in Sydney, preferably, well, I'm gonna say it'll be in the city on Sunday for like morning tea / lunch possibly. I need to confirm what time my flight home is, but I think that it is like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon / evening. So that will leave us time to have a couple of hours together and then give me time to get to the airport, check in and get ready for my flight, and probably do some schoolwork prep for the week ahead. So yeah, if you are in Sydney and you're free that weekend, please can you leave me a comment below or message me on Instagram. I mentioned it in the Aussie Discord server, I think for podcasters, but maybe just in general. And I got a couple of people who said yes. I don't mind if it's just me and Kat, Oliphant Cat. But it would be lovely to meet or catch up with some of you who I haven't seen since I lived in Sydney like 6 years ago. So I'm just trying to get a pen. Yeah, so that would be wonderful. Yeah, my executive functioning is really bad with things like admin at the moment. So I'm just trying to rack my brain for my not having written stuff down. One final thing before I sign off. I have like a good news story. So those of you who've been watching for a long time may remember that probably like in 2020, I think I cast on a granny strap blanket with some minis that I had, and then I was crocheting away on it. I was making magic cake, and it was going really well, and then I ran out of steam for it. And so back in the day, like early on, one of my viewers and now friend, Ellen, had said, Mad, I love your blanket. If you ever decide you don't want it, or when you finish it, I'll be happy to take it off your hands. And I, at the time, laughed and was like, I'm never getting rid of this blanket. It's so beautiful that all of the yarns are like my first ever sock yarn, like hand-dyed yarn, the scraps. And then I didn't do anything with it for 18 months. And so when I was preparing to move house at the end of last year, I just on a whim messaged her and I said, hey, I'm happy to gift this to you with the cake of what's ready to go, but I'm not working on it. And you always like, were you serious when you joked that? And she said, absolutely. So I think she paid for postage and I sent it and the yarn, and she's finished it and it is stunning. And so Ellen had sent me updates over the time. I was like, hey Mad, our blanket's going along really well. And so she's made it for, I think, one of her grandchildren. And it's really beautiful. If I can, the photos she sent me of it being finished, I think doesn't show anything identifying. So I might include a picture here, and if I do, you'll be seeing it now. So that was like really heartwarming because it was the first time I had like freely gotten rid of something that I had this expectation that I would keep forever. And I just was really proud of myself for moving that on, and it will bless somebody else or make someone else really happy. So that was really good. And like, go Ellen for having the, you know, I guess the tenacity to message and say, hey, I'll have it if you ever don't want it. And 3 years later or whatever, I said, yeah, finally, yeah. So that was good. Okay, I've rambled a lot. I'm looking at the time and someone's going to be home soon as well. So I'm Madeleine. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to leave me a comment below, you can. If you like and subscribe, that would be amazing. Thanks so much for coming and listening to my ramble. Hopefully you've seen something that is inspiring, or you are just enjoying your time crafting. I will speak to you at the end of next month. Definitely, maybe with a vlog when I go to Sydney, if I manage to see any yarn shops or whatnot. If not, there'll be footage at the beginning of the next month. Yeah, what else do I need to say? I'm Madbell on Ravelry, Mad About You on Instagram, and I will see you in February.